Hey, Candy, how are you?
I'm good, Jen. How are you?
I am good in the hood. Um,
Ooh.
how's your week been so far?
Ugh, ugh, ugh. Let's just say this is the most relaxing I've been all week.
Aw, I
All good.
relaxed
It's all good.
you.
It's all good. There's just so much going on at work and so much going on in other places that yeah, this is kind of my relaxing. Hey, I get to talk sports. This is my fun. I tell people I go home and sometimes do my fun job. Whether it's
Right?
taking pictures or it's talking. Yeah. Chicks talking
Um,
sports. It doesn't get better than that, does it, Jen?
it really doesn't because we talk all sorts of words. We love it all. I'm so excited. Football is back in the air. Um,
Yes, I do.
I know you are. Are you covering FSU again this year? Or
Um,
Intercontinental?
we've normally been covering not inter Miami Hurricanes. So we
Uh-huh.
don't know. We plan on doing we normally do some FAU because we FAU's like really in our backyard. So we
Right.
do a little FAU. We do some Hurricanes. We're gonna see because like they're on the road a little bit, and we're thinking about going maybe in state on the road, and we'll just see. It depends on. I'll be honest with you. It depends on if we get credentialed because credentialing. Let me just put it to you this way: it is harder and harder to get credentials for some of us small people.
Mhm.
I mean, we're not the ESPNs of the world or NBC or anything like that.
Right.
So access has really, if anybody knows, if you're in the business, access has gotten increasingly harder. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I feel that.
So
Um,
we'll see.
fingers crossed. I need to upload some interviews I did with a couple of your boys from Miami. But I do
Nice.
hope you guys get your credentials. I need to send off a few requests. I'm excited because I know I told you, ladies, but in a couple weeks we will have a special guest who talks a lot of college football.
Awesome.
So I'm very excited. This person and their father have been on my radio or on my TV for the last, X amount of years. So we'll say 21 years because I'm home from 21. So
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, we're
um,
excited. We're excited. We're just gonna wait and see because you put credential requests in and it's a wait and see, and it depends on how. Like we all forget that some teams don't have big. They're not big stadiums, or their press boxes aren't very big. Like so we'll just see how it goes and where we're supposed to be. And hello, Leonie. What is this? This is two chicks talking sports.
exactly. Because we can handle it.
You got it, girl.
Hi, Leone. Um, I hope you stick around and keep chatting in the chat. Um, yeah, it is getting more and more difficult. I need to send 2 emails tonight after we hang up. But I'm also excited because we're going to have a little bit of a special guest star at the end of the night, too. So,
Cool. Stay tuned.
yes, some of you guys and gals may know him. Um, but I'm really excited because we've got college football starts this weekend. We
Mm-hmm.
have, I got a funny story to tell you this. Um, what are you, the, well, Leonie, we don't really talk about that. This is a sports show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's some other news sites on YouTube that will discuss that with you. But the
Yes.
only politics we talk with sports is Title IX. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that we have, but we need to touch base on Title IX again soon
We
because
do.
they're trying to make some changes that ain't so pretty. But we
Yes.
have NFL. What are your thoughts on the preseason so far?
I think it's been really interesting because I've watched some games, not all games. And I'll even be honest with you. We all know I'm a huge Packers fan, and I did not watch much of that game on Sunday.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was really a game. I mean, when the Packers sit 31 of their players, their top players, because they want to see what they have beneath them, and you go against Denver's first string, like there's no comparison. So I think some of the games I've seen have been low scoring. I think they're kind of sloppy. I mean, this is the second game, so you've seen some teams play some of their starters, not all of them. Some teams don't play any of their starters because they don't want to risk them getting hurt. The game on Sunday, it was raining as well in Denver, so why would you risk, injury? But yet some teams, played all of their starters in the beginning. I saw Kansas City and Mahomes, and you saw him do an under the whatever pass to Travis Kelsey, and so what I would say is it's really early. I mean, they only have 3 games. I get it. My thing is if they're not playing in the preseason, like Jordan Love played what two snaps or one series the first game. If they don't play in the preseason because they're trying to get too much of know who their backups are, the first game almost is like a preseason game because they're still trying to get used to in-game scenarios. And
I'd say the first 2 games are actually.
I get it. I mean, these guys are making boku of millions. You really don't want them injured in the preseason. Like we've seen we were seeing a whole bunch of injuries in some of these games too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll admit, like the Sunday I wasn't watching, which I normally watch football over baseball, but I watched baseball because baseball had the Yankees and the Tigers were playing at the Little League World Series complex with all the little leaguers. And that I thought was so cool, the way they interacted with all the little leaguers and signed that. So I watched that over. And I can't believe I'm saying that because normally I would never watch baseball over football, but
it's okay. Pretty sure Megan watches baseball over football.
That was a once a year event. That was a special event. And I really liked the way they did that. And I liked how the big leaguers treated all the little leaguers. They interviewed, they let the little leaguers ask questions on the broadcast. I thought that was cool. They sat in the stands with the little leaguers and were interacting and doing autographs. So I thought that was cool. But as far as the NFL preseason, it's really hard because people are really trying to figure out the rosters. And when I say the rosters, I'm not saying the first 12, not even the second 12. It's the rest of the 53, man roster, that 23 through or 24 through, that they're really trying to figure out who they have and what they have. And some of them have been really trying to figure out like what kind of kickers they have. Like we saw this week, there was a kicker that kicked I think I heard a 60-yard field goal.
I think you're right.
From like Arizona, I think, or somebody maybe. I don't know. It was just crazy. I'm like, wow. So what have you thought about the NFL preseason?
For me, it's not a preseason anymore. It's you figure out who you want to keep, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a show off for players. The other day, I can't remember the exact number. I was just trying to look it up, but I know okay. Against the Jets in our preseason game, we had like 132 yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry, 156 total yards. One player had over half of that. And that was Johnson, and he had 83 yards total, okay? So literally he had over half. We cut him on Monday. Now, that was probably a really good thing for him so that he could get picked up by another team.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel bad. Or we pick him up again next week. I don't know. We're crazy. Right. We all know we're crazy. But, but I mean, I just feel like it's gotten away from what preseason is supposed to be. because the starters aren't getting out there. And with how much football has evolved, okay, I see it. But it's just, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Bryce needs to get out there in a game day situation with, Taylor and Icky and with, everybody else, just to see how things work out. I'm not impressed with our backup quarterbacks. I'm not. Like Andy Dalton is injured, so he's out for the year. So, I mean, but at least, hey, the Jets finally beat us. They had their 1-1 for the year. I mean,
I hear you. I mean, I was like Bo Nix played for the Broncos, so it was good to see like rookie quarterbacks like that.
Yeah, AR looked good.
I'm sorry?
Anthony Richardson looked good.
But again, are they putting the best defense out against these guys either? Like the Packers didn't. Like I said, there was 31 of their roster players. They didn't even suit up.
Yeah, that's how we were. We haven't played any of our starters at all. It's just an interview. Literally, that's what preseason is now, in my opinion. It's an interview. It's the combine.
And what do you think is going to happen when they go to an 18-game season and it's only 2 preseason games then? Like,
I mean, first of all, these owners are wealthy enough. I mean, I'm going to steal what NT Lawyer says. They have enough money. It's getting greedy. Because in all honesty, there are people who cannot afford to go to a regular season game.
Right.
And then I don't know what the Panthers were thinking. They moved FanFest down to Clemson this year. Why? I'm sorry. I will openly challenge that decision. Why? No. I get you want to go back 30 years to when we were there. 30 years ago, we didn't have FanFest. Hate to tell you. But General Manager Morgan, you were part of the team then. We didn't have it. But I don't know. I mean, I was impressed with Anthony Richardson. Bo Nix, I was cracking up at what the head Raheem Morris said about Atlanta's quarterback, not Kirk. The other guy that they drafted, blanking on his name, I'm sorry. He was like, no, we saw enough out of him last week. We're good. And I'm like, okay, so he's your starter. Thanks for telling the NFC South. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Adam.
Yeah, hi, Adam.
Good Happy college and football week, sir. We need to have you and our other friend on that we met at the ACC kickoff. And tell Chris I said, what up? Okay.
So I do want to talk just a little bit. The Philadelphia Phil's owner.
I like this. Yeah.
I really like this too. He said, he was talking about, he said he has a responsibility to the fans and the city to consistently field a championship caliber club. That is why it's important to go out and sign like Bryce Harper and why you pay Zach Wheeler $40 million. He goes, it's why I keep telling everybody, it may be a privately held business that we own, but it's not a private organization. It's a very public organization. It's a stewardship. We have an obligation. We are accountable to the fans and to the city. If you don't approach it that way, you shouldn't be an owner, in his opinion. I agree. I agree. And you got to go after what you think is you own the team. You go after what you want.
Well, and then, I mean, I hate to say shit. I'm actually going to give the Atlanta Falcons and Arthur Blank a little bit of props. I think we discussed this last week. That Arthur Blank has reduced the cost of concessions.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yes.
And to like $20 for like everything, like pizza, bratwurst, everything. What up, Scott?
We have a special guest.
Hi,
hey, Jennifer.
How are you, mi amigo?
You're a superhero after your what you did last week. Unbelievable. You had superstar status.
I had fun. I'm
You were
sorry, I
a
just
hit a grand slam home run. Look at that stuff, man.
thank you.
Unbelievable.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about Arthur Blank and everything he's doing for the Falcons. Like, honestly, he just gifted several HBCUs millions of dollars to improve the facilities. No, he did that because he also added some partners, obviously. But I love what he did with the concessions. I was telling Candy, have you heard what he did with the concessions, Scott?
I'm sorry, what's your question?
Arthur
Have you
Smith.
heard what Arthur Blanco, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, has done with the concessions?
No, I haven't.
He lowered everything to very affordable prices. So, like for $20, you can get a bratwurst, a drink, a pizza, popcorn, like all for $20.
That's
Like a
pretty
soda,
good.
not a beer, but like a soda. And you know what? That's fine.
Yep.
You know,
That's more
David
of like-
Tepper, you have more money than Arthur Blank. Come on, dude. It's not going to hurt you that much. I promise you.
Well, I mean, to his credit, he's tried as an owner. Some of the moves that he's made hasn't worked out, but he did take him to a Super Bowl one time. What unfortunately hasn't worked out. But the Atlanta
Kyle Shanahan
Falcons.
happened.
What's that?
Kyle Shanahan happened.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But but you know what? To me, his intentions, he's got a good heart, is what he has, and what he's been nothing but good for the metropolitan Atlanta market.
And what Katie was just talking about, the owner of the Phils, and like what he said, and you know what? I can think of so many owners that really need to hush up and listen up. Because like you've got Jerry Jones, he doesn't really like embrace his fans. You've got David Tepper going out there saying that Panther Twitter is, or Panthers X is the worst fan base out there. Well, quit antagonizing. Like quit going into restaurants and taking people's hats off their head.
Different breed. He's so different that I wouldn't be able to come up with the right way to describe the guy, and I usually get it right, but not with this character.
Yes, you're a little verbose. I mean, I might be too. In fact, you're so verbose. You, Mr. Morganroth, have a great book that you have published, and I was just Googling everywhere it's located. So we've got you in Barnes and Nobles, Amazon. They can order from you on LinkedIn. Is that what I saw, or am I making that up?
We posted a link on his LinkedIn. It's on our website, www.floridatribune.com as well. It's also on Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Kindle, Amazon, Google, and Apple Books as well.
Okay, perfect. Love it. We need to put this up there. So, Scott, I haven't finished it, but so far, my favorite anecdote is in chapter 8. When you're doing like at the introductory, because I totally see little Scotty Morganroth doing this. Okay.
I generally get a lot of looking at those pictures, or once upon a time, and then had the gray. And
I'm making up pictures in my head. Don't worry.
I'm not worried about it. I mean, it's you're not the first person that's told me about some of those pictures way back then, but I think that when you look at everything that was done over the years and the cumulative effect of pulling this thing off, now I'm working on the second half of it, probably at the end of the year, and I'm going to put in stories in there that didn't make the first book and modernize it to a point where you talk about different TV contracts. It's not going to be nearly as long as the first one, but there was so much I had to get out there the first time. I had a guy that was interested in helping me out, but obviously he went by the wayside. So I was able to write on my own and found a book coach, and believe it or not, this book coach, I had to go behind her, but in the end, it turned out like I had hoped it would. And, I'm glad that we were able to acknowledge you, but you're going to get a much bigger piece of the action in the next book, because you deserve it.
Well, I haven't read anything about me. I was talking about when you were at your Aunt Tina's house.
Oh yeah,
doing all the like play-by-plays for the Red Wings, and then you were like, he talking about how Bruce Martin would describe the game. I'm quoting you right now. Bruce Martin described the game on the radio with a high energy tone for a fast-paced game. When the Red Wings scored, his calls were epic. But as time went on, I discovered hockey wasn't for me. That's right. Your wife likes hockey.
No, well, you know what? Bruce Martin was a very early influence for me growing up as a kid because obviously in Metro Detroit, it's an original six market. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the fast pace of hockey, and then I grew into baseball. And when you have a guy like Ernie Harwell in your corner, that doesn't hurt either. You know what I mean?
You've got a couple of corner guys in your corner that don't hurt.
That's true. But baseball is about storytelling. And that's the thing I like about baseball over any other one is you can talk stories, you talk about stats or things. And I think that, you know, going into 25, I don't even know what it's going to look like. You know, and what I mean by that is how many more games am I going to want to go to? Am I going to pursue things like this? How active am I going to be? And that's the part that's so exciting too. You know, I may want to pursue play-by-play, public speaking. I just don't know, but that's the part that's going to be fun. And when we leased a van here just a couple of weeks ago, I was telling Candy, I just leased my retirement vehicle.
No, your retirement vehicle is going to be the RV you upgrade to.
Yeah, I'd like to know in this association where I'm going to put it. I haven't figured that one out, but you know what? I'll guarantee you one. There you go. I'm with you. Yeah, you know what though? When we get done with this minivan, it'll feel like an RV. It really will because we're already making some modifications to it now. That'll be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we really are. And you know, you might see more of an auto racing theme for me next year because I like being able to go to places where you know they want you there and they're willing to give you the red carpet treatment to talk to their drivers. And you know, to me, I just have that energy rush. You know, that anytime I do anything fast, people, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? But I can't.
In my mind, I'm envisioning you with a couple of 2 liters of Jolt soda, driving the Odyssey around the Rolex 24-hour.
Well, you know what?
You see it, don't you, Candy?
I sit on Le Mans next year. Candy will tell you, your co-host. I really do. I've already hit the 12 hours at Sebring and the 24-hour Rolex. Now I have my mind going overseas for the first time, hitting the 24 hours Le Mans. And then after that, I want to spend more time doing more international stuff since I've hit all 50 states and I got to drag her with me, you know, and I'll never forget.
You got to drag her? Oh, hush it.
What's that?
Now. I said, hush it. Be nicer now to my girl.
Oh, of course. I'll be nice to her. What are you talking about? She's got to clean up every dispute I get into when I'm chewing photographers out and, you know, going behind me. In fact, I had a situation where one photographer got in my way and I chewed him out. And then the guy who's my friend said, Scott, it's okay. Okay. You have to talk to me a certain way. Candy's here. She'll take care of it. It's okay. But then he says, I want to be on your show. No problem, Russ. All day long, man. Come on the show. This guy, you know, I'm taller than this guy anyways. I still want to the competitive side of me, but this is the same guy that let me drive around Homestead for like 12 laps or so where I'm bolting 147 miles an hour and change. And when I told Candy that's the best day of my life, said even over our wedding, said, Candy, you don't understand. You know, when I go out the track and I put my foot on the gas. I mean, this is a different situation. So she had to come down there over the weekend to say, all right, who am I playing second fiddle to? And then she's walking around the track. Oh, I know what you're talking about. So it was a 1A and a 1A. And she got the chance to see with a bunch of pictures of me in that track. And I was having a ball.
So my question is, Candy, when do you get to drive the car around the racetrack?
I haven't, but you know, that's could be in my future. You never know.
You know, I'm just saying, Scott. I mean, she drives you home every night. Not literally, but figuratively.
Yeah, well,
you might want to share. Do not take this away from me.
Candy was a nice girl before she met up with me. Now I must have trained her.
I know you were going to say before she met up with me.
Well, let me tell you, Jennifer, it was just a pleasure just seeing you in person. It was unbelievable.
It was
You're
great to meet you
you're
guys.
prettier. You're beautiful like this, but you're way more beautiful when we saw you because at
Aw,
least we
thank
got to see you that way. No, it's the truth, you know. I mean, I have all kinds of crazy one-liners, you know, but this isn't a one-liner. This is called a FACT, and on the back of my book, you can't make any factual errors, and I'm not making one with you.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but after that day, I was not hungry until like Monday.
What's
We
that?
eat so much.
After eating what we did with her.
Yeah. That was like
Yeah,
the biggest restaurant tour I've done in Charlotte in a long time.
it
I
was a
took
lot.
them out to a lot of restaurants, y'all. I was like, oh, you've got to try this. You've got to try this. There's still another place I want to take you guys that's over off Tuckasegee.
Well, we'll get up there again. You know what? I have roots. I have a history in Charlotte, and people
I
will say I
know.
have a history everywhere. So what's the difference? But I lived out in the what do they call it? The I'm trying. It starts with a P. Piedmont
Piedmont?
region. Yeah, Piedmont region. So on a couple of occasions, so
Yeah.
I know a lot of different things out there. But you know, we'll go there again. I look forward to it. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, I feel like the one thing about the book that's important for me to emphasize here, Jennifer, is I got into business at the right time when I did, and now that the access is starting to be compromised, I feel like, you know what, I'm glad I got in and I'm getting out at the right time. You know, full time, you know, I'll always be involved in some way or another, and there's new adventures to be involved. But when you know you've interviewed a lot of people like the best, so for example, I went over a first time over at this Toastmasters thing locally.
Mhm.
You know, I'm thinking
I
about
used to
getting
be the
involved.
president of Toastmasters.
What's that?
I used to be the president of Toastmasters at my office.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Mhm.
And when I told them that, who would you want to interview? You know, if you had a chance to say, well, I already did my interview was with Muhammad Ali, and then the whole room got big. No, believe me, buy my book. I think one guy's on the verge of ordering it, and I'm going to
It's
bring
only
it in.
$15. Come on, people, order it. Or better
Tell you
yet,
what.
go into Barnes and Nobles, pick it up there. That way, you don't have to wait on Amazon to deliver it. But come
Why?
on, go.
Why is it in the stores? I don't know if it's in the stores.
Yeah. Mhm.
Is it really?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can take a screenshot.
That'd be great if it was. I'm trying to get it.
Hold on. Let me check to see if it's available. It's only at certain stores. Check availability. Oh yeah.
No kidding, really.
It's out there right on.
Wow, that's funny what you learn. I'll have to check it out, see if there is one. Hey, I'm the author. Is it in here?
But a lot of them. I keep going to Facebook. Sorry. A lot of them do have online only, but still, get your Barnes and Noble's rewards. We all already give Amazon enough money. Share that
Hey,
wealth.
I have no problem if people can access it over at Barnes and Noble. I'm happy about it.
Right?
Yeah, I really am, and I'm looking forward. But you know what, Jen? I'm really looking forward to writing the second half. It's not going to be 206 pages. I predict about a buck and a quarter is what we are, because I know there will be certain things I'll touch on that didn't get it, but I know that all I'm doing now is accumulating enough things here so that I can put together a good representation of where I think this industry is at, where it's going to go, and then boom, I can graduate and do a lot of other different things as well.
I think you should talk about where y'all held your wedding reception, because that's pretty cool, and not a lot of people do that.
So all of our wedding was actually inside TGI Fridays, inside of what was then Miller Park, which is now American Family Fields, where the Milwaukee Brewers play. And we got married January 1st of a couple years ago. Yeah, 2017. But we got married actually inside the Fridays, inside the ballpark. And it was a magical day. It was, you think of it, we were in Wisconsin in January 1st, and it was 40 degrees. So it was beautiful out.
Yeah, I got my parents off my back thinking it can actually be pretty good over there. But they didn't want to go up there until they realized a modern stadium isn't that bad, even though they hadn't been in one in ages. So.
Right.
Yeah, but it worked out pretty interesting.
I think y'all should talk about that too, but I'm a little biased, so you know.
Well, that's okay. You know, hey, I'm always open for ideas. I mean, you know, when I start really hammering away, though, Jen, it'll probably be around November, December, when the year is pretty much up and done,
Mhm.
and then I'll be able to. I've already begun a preliminary outline on it, so it's just.
Oh, I knew. Oh, I'm surprised it's taken this long. I thought that happened a couple of months ago.
What's that?
I thought that had happened a couple of months ago already. You're such a go-getter, so I'm not being facetious. I'm being.
No, I know you're not. No,
Okay.
I get.
I really thought you had that done already and had already like knocked out a couple of chapters.
Part of it is I think he wants to wait because he's still accumulating stories to put in it, because he really wants to encapsulate how the industry has changed, even over the course of when he wrote this last one to where it is now and where he thinks it's going to go.
So I have one final question for both of you.
Sure.
And then I'm going to let you guys tell everybody where to go to next. But so what did you guys think of ESPN laying off Lena and RG3?
I didn't have a problem with RG3. I couldn't stomach the guy. Samantha Ponder was a huge mistake.
Sorry, I don't know why I said Lena. Was there a Lena there too?
No, no, okay. Samantha Ponder, I don't understand that, but from what I'm hearing, that was a bad move. And I talked about it last night on. I'm trying to remember what show it was. I think it was a parting shot on the baseball show. And you know what? ESPN's made a myriad of mistakes letting key people go. I could do a show on all the talent they've let go. And I'm glad that I had a chance to meet Bob Lee over at NSMA right down the road from you guys, and then he retired the next day and we got the announcement when we were eating on the road. Samantha Ponder, I've got a problem with it. A very talented young lady where the upside is what it is. I understand that she wasn't happy with men participating in women's sports, if I understand correctly. There's nothing wrong with that. Problem is, though, you're looking at a dysfunctional network that hired Rush Limbaugh when they knew what they were getting, but they let him go in a matter of a few weeks. So ESPN, to me, really waffles.
Rush never pretended to be anybody but who he was.
Yeah, if you know what you're getting.
Except sober. He did pretend to be sober.
Right. Well, no, I'm with you. But the whole idea, if you know what you're getting, Ernie Harwell once had a saying, Jennifer, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, you know what, ESPN? You knew what you were getting, but you still couldn't handle it. And now, what is it? They have a problem dealing with controversial things? Oh, give me a break. You got Stephen A.
Don't
Smith
be on the news. But that's kind of what happened with Mrs. Steele, too. That's why she's gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, ESPN, I was thinking about it today. I wouldn't work there if they paid me six figures, because I think that your job security is not going to be great. They're going to work you to death anyhow. And the way they treat people like Susie Colbert, they let all these great people go. I mean, the key to this business is you're trying to build an audience around people that you're familiar with. And if you're taking away a lot of that history like you have, and I talk about it in my book about local markets, and I specify Detroit a lot. These are people you grow up and you live with, and then you hear later on that they're retiring. These are people that were a certain part of your life. And with me, when I watched ESPN when it started in '79, I got used to a lot of those great anchors back in the past, like the Tom Mees, the Chris Bermans, the Bob Lees, and the list goes on. And I just think that what they did to Ponder, as well as a lot of others, was absolutely bad. I never cared for RG3. My career advice for RG3 would be go back to the United Football League. Maybe there's a little bit of left there, and he can go back and play football there. Maybe he has, I don't know, but he doesn't belong on the air.
I will say this. I think RG3 got such a raw deal with at that time, Redskins.
Right.
Like he got boned. I mean, I'll say that. And I think that's really jaded him. And I don't know that he's been able to come back to who he was before. I'm a big proponent of therapy, and that was a pretty traumatic situation that he, had to go through as much as everybody else. I mean, he's really supported like our guest on the show, Megan Embrett, and everyone else who's come out against Dan Snyder and really back them. And his beef was with more Gruden than anybody else. But when he found out what was happening to the ladies, he stepped up. So hats off to him. But I'll agree, Scott. He He's not who he is. He's not who he was. I think he was trying to be too kitschy. And kind of serious at the same time, and he just couldn't get that. Like, you're not gonna get that many Greg Olsons. You're not gonna, I mean, Tom Brady made his, like, I wasn't that impressed with Tom Brady's broadcast the other night. I'm not gonna lie. He kind of made it about himself.
Right.
Greg Olson makes it about the game. I think Fox will end up going back to Greg Olson as the primary broadcaster.
Yeah, I'm not going to question RG3's character. I just don't think he's that good.
No, I don't think you are either. I was talking about his on-air persona. Like, I think he was like too kitschy. Like, so,
just because I don't think a guy's any good doesn't mean that I'm always right either. I'll be the first to admit it. He's just not. I don't have any use for him. I really don't. I mean, I can tell you right now, I've developed a lot of younger broadcasters as well, and I was developed many years ago. And there's certain things that you just do. But RG3 wasn't it for me. Sam was a different breed, and as well as some of the other ones that have gone through. I had many years ago Jay Crawford on there, and he can tell you all the shenanigans that went on with ESPN. And now he's doing local news in Cleveland. He's happy. Mike Massaro is another good friend of mine who you should be familiar with in the Charlotte area, who's in the book too. So he's a good friend of mine. So, the list goes on and on. So
I'll let you introduce him to me.
What's that?
I said I'll let you introduce us.
Yeah, there's a chance I probably might at some point. Though I'll introduce the mic if I could. I'll see how I could do it or whatever.
Put it on air, people. I'm putting it on air.
Hey, you know what?
I love you, Scott. I love you, Candy. But I know you guys have another show coming up. So tell what's on the topic list tonight. What Inside the Pigskin, right?
Well, you know what? I've got a lot of interesting ones, but you know what? I'm going to go with one that really hits home with me. Connor Stallions taking the job at Detroit Mumford High School as a defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Why would I do that? Okay. Everybody knows about Beverly Hills.
Detroit?
What's that?
Because you're from Detroit?
Well, there's a little bit more to this one than meets the eye. At Beverly Hills Top, Eddie Murphy wore a Detroit Mumford jacket. But the bigger thing is my parents went to Detroit Mumford High School when they were youngins.
Aw, I love that.
So I've got a lot of other interesting topics, and we'll talk about Tua as well, knowing that I don't think he's going to be sending Brian Flores any Christmas cards anytime soon. So
yeah, somebody was talking to me about that earlier, and my whole thing is we don't know the whole conversation. Nobody's ever really come at Brian Flores before and that light. So I'm wondering if some things could have been taken out of context.
You know what happened? I say no, because number one, the Dolphins got rid of Flores really quickly in favor of a guy like Mike McDaniel, who was one of those guys who had to kiss Tua's backside to win him over. And either you develop them or you have to draft another. And no general manager wants to admit that he made a mistake. So develop them and save me from the scrutiny that you would get. And the other third major topic that we're going to have on here is Herman Edwards talking about Robert Saleh. Oh, I can tell you right now, I have some choice words about Herman Edwards. You don't want to
everybody head on over to South Florida Tribune. Check out Scott and Candy over there. I assume Mel will be there. Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy, I missed your woke glops comment tonight. I'm just saying.
Actually, Jeremy won't be on. I got a good group here, which has been my main group lately. Jeremy fills in once from time to time. I have Mel Farr, Coach John Bonamago. We've got Bo Crouch, who's a real knowledgeable guy, and then Travis Holmes, who played for Central Florida, and yours truly. So I've been able to find this group, and Jeremy substitutes from time to time. But yeah, but these guys are good. They really are.
Well, everybody go check it out. And Scott, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking about your book a little bit. Everybody will put the links up on the Facebook page. And I hope you guys have a great show.
Hey, Jennifer, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you.
Thanks for coming last minute, Scott. I was like, you know what? It's just me and Candy. Bring Scott on too. So
we missed Megan. We missed Carrie. We missed you both.
We love you both. And
Yeah.
Megan, my comment about you watching more baseball and over football is because, well, you work for a baseball team. So, yeah. I realized how that could have sounded afterwards.
I got to put Megan and I in the same booth talking about baseball. Who knows how that would work out?
She can hold her own.
No shortage of stories.
No shortage. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Candy, I'll see you next week.
Thank you,
And if anybody has any topic ideas, feel free to hit us up.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, y'all.